is what teams do the coaches think are tough teams in Division 2 and 3? And, well, you played. What did you play? Division 2 or Division 3 at Reading?
Back then it was double A. It was three.
Okay.
We were in the middle. Yeah, we were in the middle. But, yeah, you know, I know a lot of people in town are talking about there's a lot of Division 3 teams this year that are going to be really good. Roger Bacon's going to have a really good team. Wyoming's going to have a really good team. I know in Division 2, McNicholas is going to have a really good team. Reading's going to have a really good team again this year, and they got a lot of guys back from their team last year. So, yeah, there's quite a few teams in town that are capable of making a good run through the playoffs.
Yeah. Do you think the quality is keeping up each year? I got a feeling from the time I've been in Cincinnati that not only this quality is good, but it's spread out more.
Yeah.
And we used to always just talk about the Princetons and Moelers and then everybody else.
I think absolutely there is a much larger group of quality football teams in Cincinnati, and not just in Division 1. I think there's 8 or 10 great Division 1 teams, but I think there's a lot of lower division teams that are really playing good football.
Well,
Monday, we're a little more than 2 weeks away from the start of high school football, but already the word is out. The rest of the CHL will have to move fast to keep up with the Reading Blue Devils this season. Ken Miner's team is always in that hunt. They're the defending CHL champs, and they went 3 deep into the Division 4 playoffs.
It took us a couple games to get our confidence last year, where this year I sense that the kids have confidence already. They know our system better. They know we don't have any superstars still, but we know it's a team, and everybody's been working real hard as a team.
8 starters back on offense for Reading, which opens the season 2 weeks from Friday night against Clinton Massey. See, they're doing the heavy lifting already, pushing and moving and running and catching. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not that 90-degree weather they normally have.
They caught a break.
Yeah, thanks,
They did.
Ken.
Yeah, going to be a nice night around here.
Straight ahead on the program, we not only talked to Kerry Combs, standing by is Kevin Seipel, the big guy from Indian Hill. And Reading went to Clinton Massey last night in a battle of 2 playoff teams from a year ago. We talked Division 3, 4, and 6 football when Blitz 5 primetime rolls on. Yes, that iWireless Blitz 5 tour rolled into...
Oh, we go again to the outer limits from Sky 5 Clinton Massey. Taking the field for its first game with Reading, the Blue Devils' Tony Pike with the give to John Gertz, rumbling and fumbling at the goal line. John Barber to the rescue, though. Touchdown, Reading. Blue Devils up 6-0. Blue Devil fans, of course, like it. Now, hang on. 4th and goal. Clinton Massey's Quincy Brooks with the give to Jake McSorley. And the game's tied at 6. Reading had a little more juice. Pike to Adam Blevins. Look at that move. 40 yards for the score, but Clinton Massey comes back to win this game. 21-14, the final.
Hey, our wild card voting. What do you see as the key for you this year? Because obviously the conference you play in is so competitive, and you can't look at it. I mean, it's foolish to look at it and say, well, this team's going. What is the key for you, obviously, than winning every week?
Well, I think for us it's staying healthy. You know, we're trying to 2 platoon this year, and it's the first time we've really done that. And you know, with our numbers, you know, we've got good players, but we don't have a lot of depth. And staying healthy is real important. Like you said, the conference is so competitive.
Yeah, not only that, you talk about staying healthy. Reading loses its quarterback last night, so on a dime it can change like that. And that'd be the difference in the CHL.
Oh, it sure can. Yeah, with our small schools, you know, you just can't afford to lose a key player like that.
Well, keep looking good, because you photograph well on the sidelines, Bernie.
Well, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for stopping by.
Sure
Bernie
thing.
Berry, head football coach, Wyoming High School. All right, George, we're moving on.
Yeah, we are moving on.
From the Tri-State's local sports leader, this is Friday Sports Fever.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Friday Sports Fever. While you can scan the local scores on our nonstop 9 sports line, don't lose sight of the big picture on a stormy night in the Tri-State. Played
With a shutout win, the same for Coleraine. Lakota East with a win. Moeller falling again. McNick by 3 over Loveland, and Mount Healthy by a bunch. Dixie with a win over New Miami.
We're at Finneytown, and they're all fired up. Reading in the house. Blue Devils going to try things up top. John Barber intended for Nick Berter, but that's picked by John Stout. The Wildcats up and going the other way. Finneytown getting the turnovers. This is Barber throwing again, connecting with John Gertz, and he has some open road. Could he be headed for pay dirt? Gertz had 2 touchdowns, but not this time. Stripped by who else? John Stout. Stouts everywhere, but he needed some help. Final from Finneytown, Reading 28, Finneytown 22.
Is it me or to 19?
Also on your board, Reading beat Finneytown 28-22, and McNick take
College Hill by 7 over Country Day. Reading drops Finneytown. Indian Hill by 8. Back to the board. Marymount. Wyoming wins by 20. Taylor falls to Reading.
Number 1 in Division 4. Batavia right behind, Reading 6th. And how about Taft at number 8? D5, Fenwick 3rd. East Point.
Not used to this. Not at Reading High School. The Blue Devils stumbled in this game. Their opener. It was one of 2 losses for that team this season. But the real shocker was last Friday night. Reading lost to Marymount. And that was the Blue Devils' first league loss in 13 games. The comeback they hope is Friday night against Madeira.
I think after a while, everybody's just thinking that they're going to go out and we're just going to win the game just because we've been winning. And we've been fortunate to win 30-something games in the last 3 years, and it's come easy for these guys a little bit. So we forgot about one thing, and that's you got to outwork people.
Ken Miner, whose team hits a major chord on Friday night because their game is the latest stop on the iWireless Blitz 5 Tour. The fun and games begin at 5, then at 11:15, all of the scores and the highlights on the Blitz.
Straight ahead.
The iWireless Blitz 5 Tour is at Reading. I'm with the Blue Crew here. You guys are ready for tonight, aren't you? Yeah, you're ready for Madeira tonight? I'd look good dressed up like that, wouldn't I? Yeah, can you help me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right, that's going to happen. The tour is straight ahead.
Connects with Kids Report.
The iWireless Blitz 5 Tour is right here in Reading. I'm with my main man here, Big Doug, and his Blue Crew. You know these cheerleaders over here? Yeah. They're pretty good, huh? We got a cheer here. Let's hear the cheer from our cheerleaders here. Go ahead. Yeah, that's all right. How about that? One girl needs some shoes, though. The iWireless Blitz 5 Tour is in Reading right now. I need a co-anchor up here because George had to go back for bad weather. Who do I want?
Rick Elliott.
Rick Elliott needs to sit here. The AD?
Oh, yeah.
The AD. All right, the tour rolls on here from Reading in just a couple of minutes with my new co-anchor up here. How about that, huh? Yeah.
And we're hoping that the bad weather will hold off for a couple of hours, but later on tonight around midnight, check this out. Look at this squall line moving into the area. Some of this could be severe with damaging winds. We have a lot to talk about, including your forecast for Friday night football coming up in just a few.
All right, the iWireless Blitz 5 Tour has rolled into Reading tonight. We got Reading and Madeira, big game. George Vogel's back at the station because the weather could be bad, and he's going to fill in for me in case we all, get wet here. But my good buddy Rick Elliott, the AD out here at Reading, is going to fill in, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We got Rick. We got the band behind us. You guys, let's go ahead and play something for us while we talk here, okay? Because they're a good group of kids, and they know how to hit the high notes. All right, tonight, Madeira, they're looking to smack around. They're looking to smack around your team, the Blue Devils, tonight. You know that's what they want to do, is they want to smack around the Blue Devils. They got a new sheriff in that town, Mike Schaefer, first-year head coach. His team is 2-3. They suffered a heartbreaking loss last week, a 7-0 loss to Indian Hill. Tonight, here in Reading, will be another backyard battle. So what do the Mustangs need to do to win this game?
Of course not, man. Nah, they need God out there to stop me, but it's...
Obviously, that was Chad Johnson, not Mike Schaefer. He said what they got to do, hold on to the ball offensively and play good defense. Okay, Reading is trying to come back from a rare loss in this league. Go ahead, read the Reading script there, Rick.
Okay, the Blue Devils can still score some points, but they need quarterback Tony Pike in the game to kick the offense into high gear. They began the season with a loss to Clinton Massey, then last week lost to Marymount. That was Reading's first CHL loss in 2 years.
Yeah.
Pike and the crew hope to respond with a little attitude tonight.
Yeah.
I think we just came in thinking we had it, and then we underestimated their speed, and they set a good game plan for us.
Yeah, because we tend to not come out pumped up. We got a lot of talent on this team, but when we don't come out pumped up, we're one of the worst in the league.
You know all those kids too, don't you? Oh, yeah. Here's the menu. All of this on the Blitz tonight, plus 6 more big games. You guys got to keep playing back there. What's going on? Let's go over here. We got the iWireless How Many T-Shirts Can You Put On in 30 Seconds contest, and the winner wins a Donato's Pizza. They could get a Rick. In the past, it's been like 10 inside of 30 seconds. You guys may be able to beat that record.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, these guys are excellent dressers.
So here we go. The whole contest is on. We're coming down. We got 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. We got a winner over there. Who's the winner? Give me a hand sign for the winner. They're done. They can't put on anymore. The contest is over. All right, give them both pizzas. According to our referee, they get both pizzas. Hey, outstanding,
It's
Rick.
been a pleasure.
Good luck to you and the Blue Devils the rest of the way.
Thanks very much for
Elliott,
coming
the
out.
AD out here at Reading High School. Back with more of the tour coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Live from Reading, I'm Ken Brew.
George is a nervous wreck right now. He's going to lose his job.
I don't know. That trumpet player sounded like he was ready to take a nap.
Well, you know, she'll work it
Slow
out
down
there.
a little bit.
Let me tell you, the thunderstorms came.
Slow down a little bit.
Let me tell you, the thunderstorms came very close to that area. I mean, they were skirting the northern sections of Hamilton County. They're moving out. And there's another line moving in later on tonight. This is the one that I'm worried about, the one around midnight, maybe a little.
Ken is on the Blitz 5 tour tonight.
Yeah, he's standing by with the Blue Man Group out there, huh?
Let me tell you, the iWireless Blitz 5 tour is rolled into Reading. A little slow on the uptake, but that's okay. When we come back, not only the latest in high school football, we got a big pizza toss going on over here. We've got a winner that's going to get a couple of free pies straight ahead as the tour rolls on in a moment. Back at the iWireless Blitz 5 tour, we got the guys behind us here, the Blue Crew. I guess now you're Brew Crew because you're with me. So that makes sense. It's all synergy right here. You guys play Madeira tonight. The Mustangs are trying to turn it around in a not too hospitable place, I might add. Yes, here come the Mustangs onto the field last Friday night against Indian Hill. Yeah, I know. Head coach Mike Schaefer in his first year. The team plays nice defense, though, scoring points. A bit of an adventure, but it has trouble moving the ball. The veteran Mustangs know they have to be ready because Madeira is always a good matchup with Reading.
There's something about them, you know, they like to talk, we like to answer, so it's always a fun one.
Past few years especially, we've just been playing really hard, and I don't know, it's always fun to play them, and of course if we beat them, it's the greatest thing.
You know, okay, so that's the Madeira quarterback. Your guys, Tony Pike is your guy, right? The quarterback. He's been hurt, but he's expected to be fine tonight for this game against the Mustangs. Yes, sir. Reading began with a loss to Clinton Massey. Then last week, Marymount. It was Reading's first CHL loss in 2 years. Pike missed most of last week's game, but when he's pulling the trigger, the Blue Devils can control the ball. That's what will have to happen against Madeira tonight because Madeira is one of those teams that just keeps coming after you.
We think their quarterback is very accurate and they're real precise on their offensive end, and they're very scrappy as usual. The Madeira group is always scrappy like that, and we know we're in for a battle.
All righty, all of these games tonight plus 6 more, including highlights from this game, the iWireless Blitz 5 tour stop on the Blitz tonight at 11:15. All right, let's check out over here. We have a pizza box tossing contest, a relay contest, 3 different groups. And whomever wins this contest not only gets 2 free pizzas, they also get the coveted Ken Brew bobbleheads. They have been dusted off for yet another season. So we'll keep our eye on the pizza box toss contest as we move on to a little college football. College ball tomorrow, and the prize is on the line in Oxford. It's the battle. All right, we'll see. Now, I got my winners over here of the pizza box toss. All right, now, what's your name?
Tim Patton.
Tim, and your name?
Jeff Ash.
You guys are seniors.
Yeah.
Only seniors would know how to win a contest like that.
Exactly.
What will you do with that bobblehead? What will you do with it now? Because it has to be revered and put in a great place.
Putting it in my room on the shrine. On my mantle.
I love it. Outstanding. Who wants some footballs? You got some footballs here. Yeah, got some IGA footballs here. Take some footballs. I had a co-anchor. Where's my co-anchor that was here before he left? Where's Doug? Where is he? Come here, man. You got a bobblehead too. You were my co-anchor earlier tonight. Give the man a bobblehead. Give me a high five on that. All right. In the studio tonight with all the highlights, all the scores at 11:15 on the Blitz. From the iWireless Blitz 5 tour stop here in Reading, I'm Ken Brew. Back to you.
You worry what'll happen if it rains out there with all that paint all over those kids.
Oh,
you know?
It could be messy.
Hope it's not watercolors.
Let's not think that, though.
Right, yeah.
Thanks, Ken. You see how happy everyone was to get that Ken Brew bobblehead?
People are thrilled. I'm still waiting for mine.
Overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah, right. I give them as Christmas presents. Yeah.
I feel sorry for your friends.
Yeah. Coming up tonight.
Reading over Madeira by a 28-12 final score. 3 touchdowns for Pike in the ball game.
And we're back to the action now. And Betsy Ross will be in Lexington for a bird's eye view of the Florida running back and Reading grad Deshaun Wynn. All of that tomorrow night on Sports Rep Saturday night.
Still to come here on the final round.
Well, our Wireless Blitz 5 tour stop Friday night at Reading, Madeira at Reading, and the Blue Devils all fired up about having us over. 15-12 Blue Devils at the half, and here's their fine quarterback, Tony Pike, Ronan, pitching to Adam Blevins, going left. The option reverse, it was 22-12 is the score now. Fourth quarter, more Reading. Here is Pike with the perfect fade to Nick Berner. Oh, that's sweet. It's a big win for Reading. 28-12 is the final.
Now, Reading took a rare loss last week against Marymount, while Madeira fell 7-0 to Indian Hill. So someone's losing streak would end tonight at Reading. Ken Miner had his brothers, obviously. The Mustangs turn this thing into a track meet. Matt Maidlow takes the handoff and goes off right tackle, finds a hole and makes it into something special. 85 yards later, they're on the board. Then it's Reading's turn. Adam Blevins on the crossing route, catches it in stride. 45 yards later, he's in the end zone. Reading wins it 28-12.
49-21. Next stop, CHL. Reading hosting Madeira. The Mustangs. Mike Ward avoids the blitz, connects with Brian Stewart out of the backfield. Slow developing play. Developing now in a hurry, all the way down to the 3-yard line. But set up a Brett Wyckoff TD plunge. Madeira up 6-0 until Tony Pike has a day. Slanting to Adam Blevins, turn on the jets like a whirlpool. Pike 258 yards through the air and 3 scores. Blue Devils back on track, 28-12 the final. We have reached a little halftime here on 12 Sports.
Big plays we had this weekend will start Friday night at Reading High School, where the Blue Devils beat the Madeira Mustangs, and what a sweet touch Reading's Tony Pike has on this fade to Nick Berner. Reading wins the game at Anderson.
5-20. To the Cincinnati Hills League, Madeira and Reading. Ken Miner hoping his Blue Devils would bounce back from a loss last week. Madeira wanted to run. Matt Maidlow goes off right tackle, finds a hole. That's all Matt needs. 85 yards for a Madeira touchdown. Things looking pretty good for the Mustangs. But then Reading takes over. Adam Blevins on the crossing route, gets the pass in stride and goes 45 yards. Reading bounces back well with
number 1 Wyoming riding into Reading in a big CHL matchup. Nick
Basin still hasn't lost and holds tight to their number 1 ranking in Division II. They play at Reading tonight. We all
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Final Quarter. Your first look at tonight's high school football action and more.
Including Jack McKeon and the Marlins taking a giant leap in the divisional playoffs. I'm Dan Horde. He's the man called Hordy. We are not wasting any time tonight.
You sure got that right. As always, we start with a high school game from the Cincinnati Hills League. Undefeated Wyoming, the Cowboys setting at 6-0 and taking that mark to the land of the Blue Devils. Reading. And Reading using the size of one Nick Berter on the Cowboys corners. Tony Pike to Berter right coming up here for 6. And while the Cowboys aren't happy, the Devils are liking that matchup. Again, Pike to Berter in the corner. He's pulling it down. Pike passed for 421 yards and 4 TDs. Reading goes on to smoke Wyoming 42-12.
The gritty time. Moeller tries to get a shot at Elder and the GCL title. Lakota East looks to knock off arch rival Coleraine. Wyoming tries to remain unbeaten at Reading. We're reaching for our crown.
It's time for the Blitz.
Time now for our IGA sack of the week. Watch number 33. That's Reading's Tim Dick. Nobody blocks him. And he's on the Wyoming quarterback like an extra jersey. Look at this again. Dick drops the quarterback for a loss of 6. And Tim Dick of Reading, you get our IGA sack of the week.
Right now, time for a TO. When we come back, a major showdown in Northern Kentucky.
Yes, and a pretty fair one inside the CHL. Just another nasty habit when the Blitz is back in a flash.
They backed off Nick. Here it is, Nick. Oh, baby.
Welcome back. No big overstatement, no hype. The Cincinnati Hills League, the most balanced in the tri-state. Week to week, impossible to forecast winners.
Yes, and in particular when Wyoming and Reading hook up. Now, here's a game that more than qualifies as a head-to-head matchup.
We're going to pick this game up with Reading's first drive of the game. Quarterback Tony Pike finding his man. That would be Mike Riesenberg. And look at this hit. That's a big hit from Wyoming's Jesse Brumbaugh. But from there, they give it to Tim Dick, who punches it in for the score. 7-0 Blue Devils, and that played well to the home crowd. Reading with the ball again. Pike to Adam Blevins. 20 yards, another Reading touchdown. Look at him bust a move. Reading tonight with an impressive 42-12 win in the CHL.
Our Friday Freaks really good at football. Loveland quarterback Corey Partridge, 6 scores and a win over Walnut. Reading's Tony Pike, 4-2-1, 4 touchdowns. Blue Devils, big over Wyoming. Lloyd's Tim Lovett, trio over 7. More number 1 madness in the CHL. Wyoming traveling to Reading. John Gertz, homecoming king, congratulations. Tony Pike, king of the castle, across his body, laser to John Berter. Pike throws for 421 and 4 TDs. Blue Devils up 28-zip. Then, little trickeration. Adam Blevins end around, 1 of 3 scores. Reading in an absolute romp, 42-14. GCL.
Back to the action of the best seats in the high school football. On to Cincinnati Hills League. Undefeated Wyoming. The Cowboys have won 6 and are taking that to Reading, the land of the Blue Devils. Reading using the size of Nick Berter on the Cowboys corner. Tony Pike to Berter for 6, and while the Cowboys aren't happy, the Devils are liking that matchup. Again, Pike to Berter in the corner. He'll pull it down. Pike passes for 421 yards and 4 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? The Blue Devils smoke Wyoming 42-12. All right, it's time now to check out the Central Ohio scene.
Comment with that. Welcome back to the second half hour of The Blitz. Some of the scores and highlights you didn't see in the first half hour. Glad you stuck around because you see him now. No overstatement, no hype. The Cincinnati Hills League, it is balanced. Maybe the most balanced league in the tri-state. Week to week, George, impossible to forecast winners.
Yeah, and in particular, when you have Wyoming and Reading hooking up. Now, here's a game that more than qualifies as a head-to-head matchup.
We're going to pick this game up with Reading's first drive of the game. Quarterback Tony Pike finding his man. That would be Mike Riesenberg. And look at this hit. That's a big hit from Wyoming's Jesse Brumbaugh. But from there, they give it to Tim Dick, who punches it in for the score. 7-0 Blue Devils, and that played well to the home crowd. Reading with the ball again. Pike to Adam Blevins. 20 yards, another Reading touchdown. Look at him bust a move. Reading tonight with an impressive 42-12 win in the CHL.
How are you going to be remembered? This right here is how you're remembered here, boys. It's how much effort you want to put into it.
It's another big Saturday night of high school action next on Blitz 5 Extra. Winner Patrick Truster. All right, we've reached our first time out on this evening's Blitz 5 Extra. Let's go to the locker room.
We earned this thing. They didn't just give it to us for having the nicest uniforms or something. We went out, we earned it.
Ken Miner and the Reading Blue Devils defending that Cincinnati Hills League trophy. We'll take you down to the sidelines for last night's game. And we're halfway home on this Blitz 5 Extra tonight. Next, we go down to the sidelines.
Okay, we want to run here or we want to pass?
What calls will Ken Miner make? Well, he made a lot of good ones on Friday night. Sideline Squawk is next, and we'll catch up with it. Well, time now to go from the stands to the sidelines. It's time for Sideline Squawk. And what better way to fire up your team than putting it in position to ruin an undefeated season? But that's exactly what Reading had a chance to do Friday night. Unbeaten Wyoming was coming to town, and it was homecoming night at Reading High School. Pomp, circumstance, and football coach Ken Miner wired up with a Blitz 5 mic, and this week on Sideline Squawk.
Well, tonight's a time to remember a little bit. I brought in last year's trophy. Last year's. And let's remember a little bit about how much we did with this. We earned this thing. You guys go out, everybody touches it, and that's part of you on that field. Backed off. Nick. Here it is, Nick. Oh, baby. Okay, we want to run here or we want to pass? It's wide open. That's it. Get in. Yeah, a heck of a pass. That's the way to go. Yeah, that's okay. Gotcha. Good job, gentlemen. That's the way to go now, all night long. Pass! Yeah! Who got him? He's killing him, isn't he? Hey, listen, on this play now, this is a tough play for the quarterback. There he is. Yeah! What a catch! If that doesn't get him a scholarship, I don't know what will. It's the first time we've been juiced up all year. Yeah, I got trapped right past. What a quarterback. Beautiful, baby. Hell, that's just good playing, man. Good job, baby. I'd like to be a fly in that locker room at halftime.
Congratulations to Reading with a big win on Friday night. That's now created a tie atop the CHL. Reading and Wyoming each sitting atop the Cincinnati Hills League. Each team has one loss. Blue Devils go to Indian Hill this coming Friday night. Wyoming on the road at Deer Park.
And let's finish Wyoming at Reading. It was Friday fever on the front porch and a packed house out in the stands. Reading wasting no time and showing what it could do. Tony Pike to Adam Blevins. Reading has a 14-0 lead late in the first quarter. Wyoming could move, but they couldn't finish. Trey Tudor appears to have room to run, but Andrew Carpenter stops him cold. The Blue Devils turned away the Cowboys on downs. They celebrated for a moment and then went right back to work. Pike really airs this one out deep to Blevins again. This one covers 94 yards. Reading is romping big time. Still in that first half, Reading's Tony Pike threw this touchdown pass to Nick Berger. And then before the half ended, Pike to Berger, who outjumped his defender. Reading rolled over Wyoming 42-12.
Well, Ken, this is a big week for Reading football. We're against the W school. We don't want to say that school, but we're against that W school this week. It's a big game, obviously, for both teams, but probably a little bit bigger for Reading because of the two losses so far.
Well, yeah, but I think it's the same for both teams because the league championship hangs in the balance. And, yes, we have one league loss, but we kind of control our own destiny because we play these guys this week and Indian Hill the next. So, and with us beating them, too, the last 3 years also, they have a revenge factor going for them. And even if it wasn't the league play, they would be definitely out to get us this week.
Well, you got the home field advantage. You also got homecoming, and that's always a little more emotion into the game. Tell us about the season so far. It's been kind of up and down, I guess, a little bit. It started off with the loss of Clinton Massey, and then you lost Tony Pike for a couple weeks, and then kind of the devastating loss a couple weeks ago with Marymount. But it's been kind of up and down.
Well, yeah, it's sometimes that way with the season, and we just with losing Tony Pike the first game, anybody has a quarterback like him and the whole offense was set around him, it's going to definitely devastate you for a little bit. And we really felt like we should have won that game, even with him being out. We had our chances, and we made some mistakes, and we learned from it. And with the Marymount loss, we just felt like we weren't ready to play. We thought that they played an exceptional game, and they deserved to win. And we just came in thinking we were a little too good, I guess. And so we learned there, too. But you know, with the wins, we take those, and we're still in the playoff hunt, and we're still in the league hunt, and so we'll take it from there and take it as a program that's been on the rise for a few years.
You would love to get Clinton Massey back in the playoffs.
We love getting anybody back in the playoffs. That means we're in the playoffs. That's what it's all about for me. I'm kind of obsessed with it, and we're hoping that it's going to be this year for the fourth year in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say, now, it would be if Reading makes it be fourth year in a row. You've had a lot of momentum here at the playoffs the last few years. Has that done a good job as far as recruiting for the program? Does that help you a lot?
Oh, yeah, I think it does. And I think we've gotten some of the basketball players out that we need for the skilled positions for our offense. And I think probably that has a lot to do with it, the playoffs and the excitement around it and everything. And they want to be a part of it. And yes.
Okay. Well, what do you think the keys are this week?
Well, they have Kevin Waybright and Trey Tudor
the wide receiver and the running back, who really are exceptional players. And every time there's been big plays made for them, it's been with those two. And so if we can shut those guys down and we can make a few big plays ourselves, I think we can compete with them, and it should be a decent game.
Well, I tell you what, I think in the last few years we've covered Reading a lot in the playoffs and everything. And I think, and Mike, if I'm not mistaken, they're like they're undefeated with ICRC there. So I think maybe we're your good luck here, but we hope so. And good luck this week, Coach.
You had to go and jinx me, didn't you? Jeez. Okay. Well, we know we're up against a 6-0 team, the best team in the city, #1. It's going to take our best game to compete with them, to be honest with you. But we're planning on doing that, and we'll go out, and that's what we practice so hard for. And we thank you guys for being with us again. And it's always thrilling for the kids to watch the game replayed all over. And so thanks for coming out.
Okay, Ken. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, well, joining us is Reading's new athletic director, Rick Elliott. And Rick, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. Now, you've been at Reading for a few years, and you've coached, you taught here. Was the transition fairly easy to go from teacher, coach to athletic director?
I'll tell you, it's been great. Reading, as is typical with the Reading community, has really kind of embraced me here and made me feel very much at home. Again, whether it's been as a teacher or an administrator, as a coach, whatever it might have been. And it's a great community here, and I'll tell you, people have been so helpful. The boosters, the teachers, the athletes, the parents, community members. It's just great. It's been a great transition, and I've really enjoyed it.
All right, tell us a little bit now. The President gives us State of the Union message. Now, you're going to give us the State of the Union of Reading Athletics now here in early October.
I'll tell you what, we've had a great fall. A lot of key victories here and there. The key thing to look at in our athletic program, as in anyone's athletic program, it's an extension of the classroom. And the lessons that we learn on the court or on the field are just as important as those we learn in the classroom. And I think our kids have grown tremendously. It's a real tribute to them and the coaching staff, and I think the parents as well.
All right, now, is there any truth to the rumor that I heard that you will leave your office where it is because you're close to the nurse's office?
It's always nice to be close to the nurse. Her being my wife, that lets her keep a good eye on me there, so I don't get into too much trouble.
See, when you come to this school, when you find the Elliots, they're right next to each other now, which is really good. It's easy to find. Well, listen, good luck with the rest of the year. We appreciate you having us do the games. It's always so good coming out to Reading because we enjoy so much working with everybody here.
Well, I'll tell you, we always enjoy having ICRC here, and a special thanks to you, Wild Bill Bretts.
Thanks, Rick. We got a game this week, and we're going to be out there at Reading. Blue Devils and the Cowboys. Boy, what a battle.
That is going to be huge. I mean, the CHL, we have a graphic of that. We'll take a look at the CHL standings, Bill.
Yeah, and they have, it seems like the last 3 years now, Reading and Wyoming meeting has usually, whoever comes out of this, a lot of times has been, and I think Coach Miner has alluded to that, that whoever comes out of this game a lot of times is league champion. And as you can see from the graphics up there, you got Indian Hill in the mix too. Of course, they still have to play both Wyoming and Reading. So I think there is a possibility that at the end of the season you might have a two-way title up there. I don't think you're going to have three-way. I don't think I
don't see Wyoming losing.
No, and I don't see Indian Hill. I don't see all of those teams ending up with the same record. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's a huge game for both teams. And you look at Wyoming, they're 13th in the state. You know, they're 4th in the Harbins in that Division III. It shows you how tough that Division III is. They're 4th in the Harbins. They're 6-0. They're 1st in the city, Division II through 6. Bernie Berry, it's been now Wyoming for 13 years, and a lot of people remember him over in northern Kentucky, over at Beechwood, where he won a couple of state championships over there. Came back to his school that he went to, Solomon, came back to there and has been coaching there now, and he's going for his 250th win this week as a coach. And, of course, Reading hopes his 250th win is maybe next week.
Yeah,
so,
well, I'd have to say that I'm leaning more towards the Reading side.
Yeah, I think they're hoping 249 sounds good, you know, right now. But when you talk about Wyoming, they always seem to have, they're like a factory for running backs. Just look right now at Richard Hall. You see, but they've got another one right now, senior Trey Tudor. He's
I've heard that name for a while.
935 yards rushing now. He has 15 touchdowns this year. He's 3rd in the city in scoring. He's 3rd in the city in rushing. they're not bad. Eric Baker, their quarterback, he's second in CHL.
Yeah, he's got some good numbers. He's got 3 picks as opposed to 11 touchdown passes. That's pretty good.
That's excellent. Kevin Waybright, I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. We'll find out at the game. So he has 22 catches, and but he averages 20.5 yards a catch and 7 TDs.
That's huge. That is huge.
So obviously they've got a good balanced attack, a good passing attack, and a good ground attack with Tudor. And you know, if you look on defense right now, Jordan Hosmeyer is second in the city in tackles on that team. So defensively they look good. They have looked good all 6 of their games so far. On the other hand, Reading, as we talked with Coach Miner, kind of up and down. And it's probably how Tony Pike goes so far. It seems that's how it goes, although I must say John Barber filled in very adequately for him the 2 weeks that Pike was the quarterback Pike was hurt. He did an excellent job. As a matter of fact, Tony is first in the CHL in passing, and Barber is third. And even though that most of the time he spends as wide receiver, but they have that spread offense, and we saw that last year. Adam Blevins, 37 catches, 4 TDs, and Nick Berter, he has 20 catches and 6 TDs, and they rank first and third in receptions. So the Blue Devils don't have the running game that they did last year. It's not.
Pike is more of a passer.
It's more, yeah. Pike is definitely more of a passer. Remember last year, Caldwell was also could rush too. But Pike is 901 yards now. He's 73 of 114, has 7 TDs.
And I don't know about you, but I like that spread offense.
That spread offense is exciting to watch. So you know, right now this game has potential for be a high-scoring game. Now, didn't we say that a couple weeks ago, and it was a very low-scoring game. But, I mean, you got to look at these 2 teams are just loaded with offense, and it should be a pretty exciting game. I mean, you look at it's Reading's homecoming. You know there's a lot of emotion in a homecoming game, and so it should be hopefully one of the better games we've done this year.
Sure. Well, while we're on Reading, let's take a little look at their remaining schedule for the season here.
And we talked about the Blue Devils. You see they got 2 tough weeks here. They got Wyoming and Indian Hill, and then they finish with Deer Park and Country Day. And I mean, you got to think that you got 2 W's at the end of the season there for the Blue Devils. But these next 2 weeks, this is going to be critical for them, and they know that. I mean, the team knows it, coaches know it, that this is a crucial part of the season for Reading. You know, it's do or die now. And if you want to get in the playoffs, you're right. This is what it's all about. If they want to get in the playoffs, they're going to need, I would say, at the worst, they're going to need 1 or 2 wins in here. But you know, hopefully the Blue Devils can pull out 2 of them here.
I sure wouldn't mind following Reading on through the playoffs again.
They're fun to watch, and we've watched them over the years go all the way to the state semifinals. And I mean, they're looking for their 4th straight year in the playoffs. Of course, Wyoming's there every year.
Yeah.
So I mean, and this is a big game for Wyoming too. Not to take anything away from the Cowboys. I mean, they need this game, and I think right now they need this game for home field advantage right now because they're hanging in there in 4th place.
Right. So they're on the very cusp of maybe falling out of that home field.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a dump. All out motion from near side Mars. Catch is made. Nice grab.
Give us the snow.
We've got a little bit of everything.
Did we have a game last week, or did we have a game last week?
It was unbelievable. The Reading Blue Devils took on the Wyoming Cowboys, the #1 ranked in the Harbin's Wyoming Cowboys, and the results were quite interesting.
Well, you know, when we do these, when we kind of set up these games, you know, we like to try to get as many ICRC schools as possible. And we try to pick the best games possible. And I think realistically, looking at this Wyoming team coming in, #1, 6-0, Reading, kind of struggling at 4-2, you kind of hope that the Blue Devils would stay with them, you know, and maybe they would not win, but it wouldn't look bad, you know, that it would look. But I don't think anybody, Reading, Wyoming, no matter what, could ever dream the way this game came out with an absolute blowout.
Unbelievable. And we have some highlights from this game that we're going to take a look at.
Lots of highlights.
Lots of highlights. This will be like Highlights-O-Rama or something like that.
I know, because there was so many of them. And, you know, the Blue Devils got the kickoff, or won the toss and decided to go right away for, they try to go for the ball offensively right away. And you can see right there, Tony Pike pass, I believe that was to Riesenberg, set up the touchdown here, the first touchdown of the game, Tim Dick.
And here's the second one, Bill, coming in there, Adam Blevins.
Adam Blevins, one of 3 touchdowns. You know, Wyoming had not been behind all season. And all of a sudden, here in the first quarter, they find themselves down 14-0. But I tell you, right here was the turning point in the second quarter. Wyoming driving at the 5, maybe 6-yard line.
And Redding stops them.
Blue Devils stop them, and look what happens on the next play.
This was pretty unbelievable right here. Tony Pike with the long pass out to none other than Adam Blevins, and he goes all the way to pay dirt. 94 yards, I believe it was, on the touchdown.
94 yards. That's the 10th longest reception in Ohio history. 21-0 at that time. I think at that time it was basically over. I mean, that definitely was the turning point.
Here's another look at that one, Bill. I mean, it's worth looking at again.
Oh, absolutely. And look how he
Great pass.
Just reads him perfectly.
And he just totally burned number 33, whoever that was there.
And that was
all the way to the house. Great touchdown by Adam Blevins. He had a fantastic night.
He did, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in the storm. But you know what? Blevins had first 2 touchdown passes, but it was time now for Nick Berger. It's the Nick Berger show right here. And this is still in the second quarter. Berger had a 15-yard reception and then 11-yard reception. And unbelievably, at halftime, 35-0.
35-0 Blue Devils. I think that was the biggest shock of all.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we're going to get to see this one again here. Get a little bit better camera angle on it.
And Pike had 366 yards in passing, Tony Pike, at halftime. At halftime. He had already broke his previous record for a game.
Check this, Bill. Into the corner, going to Berger, boom. And he just out-jumped his man, basically.
Absolutely. And there was mismatches all night, too, and especially Berger on Andrew Tudor was a mismatch. Second half, Cowboys do finally get on the board here.
Yeah, this was their first score of the game in the third.
Yeah, this is Baker to Waybright, and that was...
And a good catch, and another one that we're going to take another look at there from the replay. It was just a great catch here because he pretty much just dove out and somehow was able to come up with it.
They're marking in there. Look how Baker gets so...
That's interesting. We were noticing that the whole game, how low he crouches. Look at this. Laying out there like he's going for a catch out in center field.
But that was essentially about it.
That's about the only bright spot for Wyoming.
Right, and I think there's Adam Blevins in the 6-yard. He had I think it was 6 yards there, whatever it is, in the fourth quarter, and put the final point. Eric Gillen had 6 extra points. He's only missed 1 all season, 42-12. And one thing to mention about is Wyoming was disrupted all night. Tim Dick led the charge of defense. He had at least, I think we count him with 3 sacks. He was in the backfield so much, they ought to put a Wyoming jersey on him. I mean, he was in there so fast at times. And that just completely disrupted the rhythm of the Cowboys. And a huge, huge upset. But, you know, it's the third year that Redding has beaten Wyoming. And last year was 34-20. I'm not sure what score was the year before. But, you know, Redding's had their number now for 3 years. And in essence, the last 2 years it decided the CHL championship. But that's still up in the air, and we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to say that Tony Pike did end up with 421 yards.
That's unbelievable.
That was a school record. He also had 29 completions, 42 attempts.
Wow.
Those were school records. That was the 27th best passing performance all time in Ohio. And Adam Blevins broke the single game 200 yards plus. And receiving, he had 9 receptions. He now leads the city. And I know yards. I think he leads in receptions, too. And, of course, as we mentioned, that touchdown, that 94-yard, 10th best of all time. What a game.
Unbelievable. One of the things that I noticed that was pretty interesting was 24 first downs by Redding. And that's the way you put points on the board. Move the ball down the field with that spread offense that they have. And credit goes to Coach Ken Miner because he did an outstanding job.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think we had some. You have our Indian Hill in 8th place right now, 6-1. They finished the season with Redding this week, D4, D3 with Wyoming next week. And then Little Miami D2. They need to beat Reading and Wyoming, and then they need to hope for help.
Yeah.
They need some help. The jury is still out on the Braves. I'm not going to make a decision one way or another on them. I think a lot depends on what happens with Reading this week.
Sure.
With them. So we'll put them as a question mark right now. So how about D4? Clint Massey on top, 7-0. You got Reading in 4th. Now, Reading moved from 7th to 4th with that one
That was
win.
a big jump.
And the reason is you got Wyoming was a D3 team with 6 wins. So they gave Reading a bunch of points, Marymount in 7. Up to the Wyoming game, Reading opponents only won 7. Now, Wyoming added 6 more to that. Left, they have D3 with Indian Hill this week. Then they go with Deer Park, who has no wins in D4. And they finish with D6 Country Day. Now, in the future, and a lot of schools are doing this, Reading is planning to beef up their schedule at the end of the season. The reason is nothing to say anything bad about Country Day, but it's a D6 school. And to be competitive in the playoffs, you like to have more. You like to have a bigger one than that. A win over in Indian Hill should wrap up a home field. I think no matter what happens, the Blue Devils are in. And Marymount, this week Madeira, next week Taylor. They're ace in the hole. D1 Hughes Center final week. I think the big win over Reading really helped them. And Western Brown, who they beat first game of the season, Western Brown's won 4 games since that time.
So that's going to help them a lot.
I think they're going to quietly make it into the playoffs. And a win over Hughes will seal their playoff chances. I think they're in. I think they're in.
2-19. Reading also a winner over Indian Hill, 38-32. They keep it up. And
back to the second half of the Blitz with George Ken, Reading and Indian Hill. Now, normally when you talk about these two teams in any given season, you know that this is going to be a very good game because they both have competitive teams steeped in tradition. They both have wonderful coaches. But I don't think we were expecting what we got last night from this game.
Right. I mean, yeah, we thought it would be a good one, but this was a great one. Reading came into this game with 1 league loss. Indian Hill was spotless in league play. So with that title on the line, what else can we do with these two? Well, how about we say they go head-to-head?
Oh, what a game this turned out to be. Reading at Indian Hill. Reading quarterback Tony Pike with the give to 210-pound fullback Tim Dick. Dick looked like he stopped, but look at him bounce to the left, and he's in for the score, and it's 16-15 Reading. Reading goes for 2. Pike to Adam Blevins, 18-15 Reading. Now 10 minutes to go in the 4th. Indian Hill quarterback Paul Kuzimo with a nice touch to Matt McCaw, and he fights down to the 7. And then they give it to Zach Minturn, their talented place kicker, who's going to nail this field goal to tie the game at 18. This game would go to triple overtime. Triple OT before Reading pulls out a 38-32 win. Big games, big plays this weekend. Let's start with the Elder defense that forced 8 turnovers. Parker Smith with 1 in their big win. In triple overtime, Indian Hill found out what Reading was all about. Big fullback Tom Dick forced a 3-way tie in the CHL. Reading wins 38-32 at Anderson.
Our Pro Copy Player of the Week had a record-setting performance for the Reading Blue Devils just last Friday night. Senior quarterback Tony Pike passed for 366 yards and 4 touchdowns in just the first half against a very strong Wyoming team. Watch his passing. He finished the game with more than 400 yards of passing, and Pike put 8 new entries into the Reading High School record book. Tony Pike, a tall and talented quarterback for Reading. He's our Pro Copy Player of the Week. Then to the Cincinnati Hills League. Can Reading do it 2 weeks in a row? It's next on the Meyer Sports Rush. Indian Hill and Reading in the Cincinnati Hills League. Life wasn't nearly as easy for Tony Pike as it was a week ago against Wyoming. Some of those passes that went for scores just were a little bit too long. Reading took a 10-0 lead in this game in the second quarter. This is Eric Gillen with a 43-yard field goal. Good kick. Here's Indian Hill making some progress. Cole Cousineau with the touchdown pass to Zummy Zanders. Indian Hill tied it up, but Reading won it in triple overtime, 38-32.
Nothing but good, clean play from our local high schools over the weekend, though. Some more successful than others, like Princeton's Vikings, 14-7 winners over Lakota East, making them 6-0 in the GMC. It took 3 overtimes before Reading's Blue Devils, winners over Wyoming last week, prevailed over Indian Hill 38-32. The Fairfield Indians beat Oak Hills 26-23, just the second loss of the season for the 4th-rated Highlanders. Elder with an impressive win over St. Xavier on the road. The Panthers winning their second straight GCL South title with the 28-7 victory. And North College Hill earns a share of the MVC title, beating New Miami 35-9. All qualified, but only one will be named Temp-Star Team of the Week, and that happens tonight at 11 o'clock, so be here for that.
Right. Thanks a lot, Denny.
Thank you very much, Denny. Noteworthy wins were the common thread linking our field of 5 candidates, but North College Hill's 35-9 conquest of New Miami was special in that it earned the Trojans a share of the Miami Valley Conference title, and with it, our Temp-Star Team of the Week award. Division 4 Ohio
on Friday. 2 weeks of high school football left in Ohio's regular season. Top 8 in the computer rankings make the playoffs. Unbeaten Clinton Massey, second in D4. Reading looks to be a shoo-in. Batavia and Marymount 5 and 6. CHCA is 5 in Division.
Keeps it going. They beat Deer Park. Deer Park still winless. 48-14 the final in that one. Tigers of Beach.
Country Day over New Miami. Reading beats Deer Park. Madeira over Finney.
I don't think there's two better football coaches in the tri-state than Kevin Seipel at Indian Hill and Bernie Berry at Wyoming.
Yeah, so you had to figure there wasn't any game better than the fight for the CHL championship tonight on the Cowboys' home turf.
Oh, it was a game so big it had to be our head-to-head game, and Wyoming at this point has built a 21-7 lead. Second half now, and watch this, one of the better kickers in the tri-state, Indian Hill, Zach Minturn. It's up, it's over, it's good. It's 21-10, Indian Hill with an 11. Fourth quarter now, Bobby Schmidt will pound it in from the 1. The Braves go for the 2-point conversion. This is a 21-18 ball game. Now 3.5 to go. Wyoming with the punt. But Indian Hill's Andrew Kariakis drops the ball. Wyoming recovers. Cowboys hang on. 21-18 final. Reading won tonight. Wyoming shares the CHL title this year with the Blue Devils. Cincinnati.com will announce the winner tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 on Blitz 5 Extra. Well, we want to shout out.
Friday Night Freaks time. Princeton's Gerald Williams becoming a fixture. 541 total yards, 6 more touchdowns for the Vikes. Connor quarterback Trevor Stillman, rather efficient. 166 yards and 4 scores as the Cougars stay perfect. Reading Tony Pike. Does Stillman one better? 5 scores through the air for the Blue Devils. And Clinton Massey's Jake McSorley. With 1 week to go, here are the Ohio rankings. Top 8 make the playoffs. Wyoming, the lone local rep in Division 4. It's Clinton Massey hosting a first-round game. Reading is 3rd, Batavia 5th, Marymount 7th. And in Division 5, it's Jacobs and CHCA 4. And
finally, any memories stand out of you of a game that you've been involved with in the last few years?
Well, I think the one game that would just pops out on the radar screen for me that I didn't get to see. I was unable to do a playoff game. It was last year before last, when Reading had the infamous hook and ladder play that got them to the next round of the playoffs. From talking to you folks, that was one heck of a game to watch. But the one that really jumps out.
What they're in the playoffs.
In Division 3 now. Versailles, or if you're from Germany, Versailles.
Versailles. Well, we're at D4. D3 we've kind of threw out the picture.
So Reading here at number 3.
Yeah, and they win, they end. So they play Country Day, which is Division 6, but Country Day's got 5 wins now.
Right.
So now here's the interesting thing about Marymount. Just kind of looking at who is in between them and who are they playing. Marymount, if they win against Hughes Center, Marymount could get into that home field advantage. They could be right there, maybe 4. They might even flip places. Reading for Marymount 3. That's a possibility. If they lose to Hughes Center, I think Marymount just might hang in there for that 8th position.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Myers Sports Rush. What has happened to our fall? This was the final weekend of the football regular season. But as we turn that corner from the regular season into the playoffs, we had a number of significant games both Friday and Saturday is where we start.
Earlier this afternoon, it was senior day at Reading High School. 23 seniors got the proper introductions before the game, a game that had the usual girls there, and this week the usual schools. Didn't take long for the Reading offense to strike. Tony Pike shoots a pass over to Adam Blevins at the 35. He turns and heads down the sidelines. He's not going to be tackled, so the Blue Devils get on the scoreboard first. We mentioned Reading has quite a few seniors, not so for CCD. Few good plays, but this is a young squad. And that's tough to deal with when you have an offense as potent as Reading's. Pike flips this pass to John Gertz. He runs right at us for a good pickup. And they move near the goal line. Pike fades to his right. There's Blevins, his favorite target, for another score. It didn't end there. Pike let it air out a few minutes later, deep to Chris Connor, and the Blue Devils jump ahead by 20. They never look back on their way to the playoffs.
Playoff-bound Reading hosting CCD, and the Blue Devils gave their gals plenty to cheer about today in the first quarter. Tony Pike hands the pig to Joey Fletcher, who experiences the joy of 6. Reading up 13-zip. The star of the show is Reading's quarterback, Pike. Tony passed for 5 touchdowns, setting the school mark for TD passes in a season and career as the Blue Devils roll over CCD 48-7.
As we project the playoffs, let's go down to Steve Shuck at Projection Central. Steve, let's start back to break down Division 4 and 5 in the playoffs. Steve Shuck joins us from Projection Central. I love those helmets, Steve. Just in case somebody attacks you, you have plenty of helmet protection.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Division 4, Marymount had a big win. It propelled them from the bubble to a playoff spot. So that was key for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, it was key, Ken. They needed a win to stay off the bubble. We had 3 other teams in the area in really good position, that being Clinton, Massey, Batavia, and Reading. But I would say Marymount left very little doubt early in the game with a real big win, and that put them in a solid position. Division 5, we have 2 area schools.
Take a look at these projections from Division 4, and there you see the first 4 teams, all with home games in Division 4. Clinton Massey, which has had a terrific year, Versailles, Reading, and Marymount. Those are the top 4 in Division 4. And then as we project it down, there you see Batavia right there at number 7, getting into the playoff picture this year. In Division 5, tonight at 11 o'clock. Okay, the matchups. Oakwood at Clinton Massey, Batavia at Versailles, and then you see Alder would play Marymount, and Reading would have a home game against Springfield Northeast. And then Friday night on the 31st.
Let's go right back to work, and we move now to Division 4, where unbeaten Clinton Massey gets the call as the top seed in Region 16. The Falcons will host Oakwood, the Lumberjacks, in round 1. The Marymount Warriors will host the 4-5 game. They get the Jonathan Alder Pioneers in that game. The 3-6 game finds Reading hosting Springfield Northeastern, and perhaps the top team in Division 4 rounds out the Region 16 bracket. Unbeaten Versailles is the 2 seed. They'll have a home game with Batavia.
No surprise here. Ironton, the football crazy town, they're definitely going to add to the round 1 excitement in Region 15 when the Fighting Tigers host crosstown rival the Rock Hill Redmen. Bel Air draws a home game with Williamsport Westfall in the 4-5 tilt. The Purple Raiders of Martins Ferry host Fairland in round 1, and the final pairing in Region 15 has 9-1 Coshocton hosting Granville.
The Hill Climbers of Urbana are the number 1 seed in Region 14. They hope to turn off the lights on Edison. How do you like that one?
I like that.
Okay, it's a season roundup 1 matchup. And the Delta Panthers come out of the highly regarded NWOAL. They host another 9-1 team, the Huron Tigers, in the 4-5 game. Coldwater's only loss came to unbeaten Versailles, but the Cavaliers still have to hit the road in round 1. They draw 8-2 Wellington. And the final Region 14 pairing finds 9-1 Upper Sandusky hosting Lima Bad.
And the final set of brackets in D4 is in Region 13, where the Black River Pirates get the number 1 seed. They'll host Orville. 2 7-3 teams play in the 4-5 game, with Worcester Triway earning the right to host Akron Manchester. Youngstown Cardinal Mooney gets a home game with Cleveland VASJ, and 2nd seed Waynedale hosts Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy.
Mike, one of my top teams in Division 4, they're a 2 seed, but they really are a really great team. It's the Versailles Tigers. They've won 5 state championships. This is a ball club that has really got their act together. Remember in our marquee matchup, they beat Coldwater. It was a great game, went right down to the wire. But not only that, but they're playoff driven, because they basically play playoff games throughout the season when they're playing in the MAC, the Midwestern Athletic Conference. It's a great conference. Versailles is battle tested. They should be great in the playoffs.
Yeah, they won that game against Coldwater, trailing 10-0 at halftime. They're back first time since '99. How about Ironton?
Yeah.
Fighting Tigers coach Bob Lutz, one of our favorites, beat their arch rival Portsmouth this year, but they lost 2 weeks ago to DeSales 40-0. That was their only loss of the season, however.
It should be a good team, Ironton, in the postseason. They always are. All right, moving on to the
7:30 Division 4 Saturday night. Clinton Massey hosts Oakwood.
Mariemont's at home against Jonathan Adler. Batavia travels to Versailles. And Reading has a home game against Springfield Northeastern.
And Division 5.
Games Friday at 7:30. Division 4. Clinton Massey with the top seed. Batavia at Versailles. Reading gets a home game, as does Mariemont. Those games Saturday at 7 o'clock.
Shuffle. High school football now. The regular season in Ohio done. Finished. Playoff pairings are out. Let's not waste any time. Let's show you who gets invited to the postseason party. We begin. Finishes one spot out in 9th. Division 4 on Saturday. Undefeated Clinton Massey hosts Oakwood. Batavia travels to 10-0 Versailles. 3rd seed Reading will host Springfield Northeastern. And Mariemont earns a home game against Jonathan Alden.
It is ICRC Sports View once again coming at you, all of our fans out there. And today is the Halloween edition of our show.
Blue Devils, they actually played on Saturday. It was a Saturday afternoon game, and Coach Miner getting the Blue Devils ready for the playoffs by moving that game to Saturday. And they took a score 48-7 on Saturday over Cincinnati Country Day. Country Day ends up 5-5. Reading 8-2. Quarterback Tony Pike, receiver Adam Blevins just completely rewrote the record books at Reading this year, and passing and quarterbacking and receiving.
And I see a mistake.
So ICRC schools, of our 18 schools that we covered this year, 13 of them finished 500 or better. 7 of them were league champions or co-champs, and of course 7 of them are in the playoffs, and 5 of them with home field advantage.
And I don't remember there ever being this many teams making the playoffs, and you think about all the teams that have the home field advantage too.
Right.
That's
Man,
huge.
Well, we're with Tom Crosby here at Mariemont High School, and after a 6-year sabbatical, the Warriors are back in the playoffs, so congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, Bill. We're all excited. I think the community
up winning 6 of their last 8. The win against Reading, and then a couple weeks ago we made...
The Reading win was, of course, a big win for us, and we got Reading's points, second-level points each week as they won out after we beat them. But we had to keep a close eye on them and make sure they didn't get too far into the region. So both Reading and Mariemont are 3 and 4, and we're both very happy about it.
Mr. Crosby back in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the playoffs, we don't have a Harbin report anymore. We don't need Harbins anymore. We're all done with that. We're in there, and I think we did pretty good over the last few weeks of saying who's in and who's not. And so I think what we're going to do is take a look at the brackets right now.
Yes, and we have some of those.
The very
one, Bill.
Let's go to D4.
D4.
All right. We do have, of course, Mariemont in there. We'll be talking about them in here in a second. Reading, Springfield, Northeast. Well, 4th year in a row for the Blue Devils in the playoff, and they previous 3 times they've gone to the regional finals twice, the state semifinals once. They've had the home field the last 3 years and won handily. I think that's going to be 4 years in a row they're going to win handily.
4 in a row for the Blue Devils. That'd be a good one.
Yep. And then finally,
Ohio Division 4 action, 8-2 Reading on the road against Springfield Northeastern. This game was so packed, people were staring through the fence just to get a glimpse. They all came to see Reading star quarterback Tony Pike. Early on, Pike hits Adam Blevins, who takes a wicked pop but stays up and runs it inside the 10-yard line, setting up a Reading touchdown and 7-0 lead. A little later, Tony Pike and Adam Blevins hooking up again. Blevins juggles but hangs on for 6. Reading wins and advances 42-13.
To 35, Springfield at Reading. Tony Pike to John Barber, who jukes one defender, rolls away from another, breaks a tackle. Yeah, and then he goes on to score. Reading 42, Springfield Baker's dozen. Next,
The final. Reading on the road at Springfield Northeastern. This one was a packed people standing room only. Through the fences, they all came to see Reading star QB Tony Pike. Early on, Pike hits Adam Blevins, who takes a wicked pop, but he stays up, runs it inside the 10. That sets up a Reading touchdown. There we go, 7-0 on this score right here, going to the air. 7-0. A little later, Pike and Blevins hook and up again. Blevins juggling and hauls it in for 6. Reading wins at 42-13 the final. Another
14 winners at home. Ken Miner, proud member of that Wilmington College Hall of Fame and still the head football coach at Reading, where last night his Blue Devils ran into Springfield Northeast in the Division 4 playoffs. This is Christian Winterhoff, but Reading still led 21-7, largely because talented quarterback Tony Pike had 5 touchdown passes last night. This one to John Barber. Great work by Barber after the reception. 42-13 is the final here. Reading on to round 2. Another division. Versailles beat Batavia 42-7. So in Division 4 play next weekend in the semifinals of regional play, Clinton Massey against Marymount, Reading against Versailles. One other football score to report.
Versailles whoops up on Batavia. Northeastern at Reading. Tough night for the Jets. Scoreless early on. We've got a score now. Reading's Joey Fletcher touchdown run. 7-0 Blue Devils. More fun out of Reading. And again, it's Fletcher. He carries it off left tackle. 14-0. Reading too much tonight. They will take to the air. This time it's Tony Pike. Back to pass. He finds Adam Blevins for the touchdown. 42-13. Reading beats Northeastern. Here's your Division 4 numbers. Urbana will play Delta, who beat Huron tonight 31-28. Coldwater, a touchdown better than Wellington. The Cavs will play Lima Bath, who beats Upper Sandusky 21-13. Massey shuts out Oakwood. Up next for Massey, Marymount, who gets past Jonathan Alder. Versailles 42, Batavia 7. Top team in the state, the Tigers, will get Reading in a good one, 42-13. The final in that one. We need to take a
score. Reading rolls into its 4th straight playoff appearance with a 5-game winning streak, tackling Springfield Northeastern. Let's go to Reading's Veterans Stadium. The Blue Devils clicking on all cylinders tonight. Joey Fletcher with the big hole around the left end. Watch this. 7-0 Reading as the route is on tonight. Then it's the quarterback, Tony Pike. He's the man. One of 5 touchdown passes on the night. Perfect execution on the corner route here to Adam Blevins. Pike, 19 of 34, 357 yards. Blue Devils moving on in convincing fashion. 42-13 is your final score.
Tonight on the Myers Sports Rush, it's your complete source for playoff football. And it wasn't just Division 1. Marymount started the chase tonight. Reading tried to make another run, and Batavia went on the road.
Good evening, everyone. It was a pretty strong Friday, but this was a super Saturday in high school football.
Well, there's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. More from the world of Saturday playoff football next on the Myers Sports Rush.
Let's go to Reading. Blue Devils and Springfield Northeastern bombs away from Reading. Tony Pike firing away all night long. This one goes to Nick Berger near the 15-yard line. John Gertz then comes left for Reading. They have a 14-0 lead only in the first quarter. Soon increased. Pike this time connected with Adam Blevins. He bobbles, then scores. 21-0 Reading. Got to see this. Northeastern gets a touchdown, but then Pike launches a missile downfield that Berger's able to catch up with. Blue Devils in business again. Watch this finish. The flip to John Barbour. He cuts it back. Then he spins, and he spins again. He scores. The crowd goes wild, and Reading moves on winning 42-13. Finally, we finish up in Versailles where the Batavia Bulldogs tried to keep rolling. The rolls stopped tonight. Versailles with a convincing 42-7 victory. A terrific season comes to a close for the Batavia Bulldogs. That wasn't Stadium. In Division 4, Reading showed that it's ready for the postseason tournament. The Blue Devils were stunning through the air. They took apart Springfield Northeastern. Division 4 shows Reading against Versailles. That game's played in the Dayton area at Wayne High School. Also in Division 4, undefeated Clinton Massey will advance to play Marymount at Princeton High School. Both those games Saturday night.
Let's into Division 4, Saturday at 7 o'clock. Top seed Clinton Massey and number 4 Marymount. They'll meet at Princeton, and Versailles meets Reading at Huber Heights Wayne. One other note for you.
Sometimes you learn things from people who have been there before, like Reading football coach Ken Miner.
The team that's got the mental toughness up here is going to win the doggone game.
Reading coach Ken Miner talking to his team about how Elder handled that cold weather in Canton last season. Elder won the title. Elder coach Doug Ramsey used to play for Miner at Reading High School. Friday night, Reading plays its next game in Division 4 against Versailles in Huber Heights Wayne.
This is a deja vu from last year, and the second week of the playoffs, we played the #1 team in Coldwater in the state, and we managed to beat them. And this year, we're playing at the same field against a team Versailles is in the same league as Coldwater, and we're really looking forward to it.
They should be. All those games get underway tomorrow night a little after 7:30.
Right. Thanks, Ken.
We just got to keep up the hitting.
Yeah, they do. In Division 4, the Reading Blue Devils face a tall order. They take on top-ranked and undefeated Versailles. That's game going to be played at Huber Heights Wayne. But whether it's the #1 team or whomever, Reading is just looking to take that next step in these state playoffs.
And of course, every team goal to make it to the playoff to get to the state championship. So first, we got to beat week 1 and week 2. week 3, and so on until we win our state. That's our goal for right now. Try not to focus that it is the #1 team in the state that we're playing, but it's hard not to, and we bring that much more intensity to the game.
George, look at this lineup tonight. It's like NBA.
It's real quick, Bill. Any final thoughts on Kings and Reading this week?
As far as Reading goes, this Reading team is capable any night of exploding for points, no matter who it is. And I think both teams are ready. They're both healthy. They're both geared up to go. I think we're going to see 2 great games.
When they did the quarterback switching with Caldwell and Pike, but Pike has really stepped up and taken leadership of that team.
He has, and the Reading team was kind of similar to what you were saying about the Moeller team. Reading kind of struggled a bit at the beginning of the season. Of course, Pike was hurt the first half of the season. And, I mean, he's put up some unbelievable numbers. I mean, he's rewrote the record books, over 2,000 yards. And really, when you think about it, he was out, I think, at least 3 full games. I think he was out, maybe even more than that. And so he's done it in 7 or 8 games. And
that makes it even more amazing.
Right. And I think as the week gets along, now Reading being a smaller school, you know, they can't keep people get hurt. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of backup like some of the bigger schools do. But I tell you, when they're running on all the cylinders, they're just like Kings. I mean, they can be tough. And we could see, and, you know, talk about Marymount, and, you know, talk about Marymount and Moeller, too. We could conceivably see all 4 of our ICRC schools winning this week and moving on, because I think they're all, the 3M schools and the R school are all running on all gears right now, so could have an exciting week.
Highlights of the Division 4 games for you on Sports Wrap Saturday night.
Today and date.
More action on the docket tonight. Look at that. Division 4, Marymount and Clinton Massey. That is a biggie at Princeton. And Reading takes on Versailles, the top-ranked team in the state in D4. That at Huber Heights Heidkamp Field.
State semifinals division. It may be cold outside, but the playoffs are heating us up. The Portable Pit traveled to Oxford today. At Nippert, it's a showdown tonight between Division I powers Coleraine and Moeller. Reading, Marymount, and Clinton Massey all try to make a mark in Division 4. And Marymount, and then farther up 75, just north of Dayton, Reading, the top 3, the 3 seed, I should say, Reading, is taking on Versailles tonight. That's at Huber Heights, Wayne. All right.
Other semifinals, Versailles and the Reading Blue Devils. Less than 30 seconds left in the first half. Versailles on the doorstep, and quarterback Kyles Geely punches it in from the 1, 21-7 Versailles at the half. Second half action coming up. Reading star Tony Pike hooking up with his favorite target, Adam Blevins, down to the 2-yard line. Blevins gets it there, sets up a touchdown, but not enough. Versailles eliminates Reading tonight with a 55-21 win. To the Commonwealth.
Over Marymount. Reading in Division 4 was playing Versailles up in Huber Heights, Wayne. Reading's Tony Pike. Nice gainer to Adam Blevins, the fine wide receiver, and that sets up the very next play. This time it's a run. Tim Dick on the ground scores, but the Blue Devils are down 28-14. Running back Eric Strasbaugh of Versailles, a 25-yard touchdown. Versailles opens up a 21-point lead. Then Ben Shappy of Versailles, pulls his way into the end zone, 6-yard touchdown. And the final is Versailles 55, Reading 21. Girls volleyball.
Division 4, Reading's Tony Pike, I spy. That would be Adam Blevins, wide open. Blue Devils take an early 7-zip lead, but Versailles, well, they're going to score with the ground game and put up 3 unanswered touchdowns. Versailles wins very big, 55-21. Clinton Massey looking all the bit.
Let's go to Huber Heights, Wayne. Reading facing those tough Tigers of Versailles. Blue Devils can't lead at 7-0, but can't stop Ryan McNeilin, who just bowls over the Reading defense. That's good for a 6-yard touchdown. Later in the first, it's McNeilin again, giving Versailles the lead, 12-7. Reading also getting beat in the air as well tonight. Kyle Gale, it's bombs away. Ben Shappy with the catch. Good for a 32-yard pickup, and that sets up the quarterback keeper. Gale takes it in. Versailles knocks off Reading. 55-21 is your final. Well, We've seen this one.
Now we head to D4. The Tigers are for sales and Reading Blue Devils. Tony Pike goes airborne and Adam Blevins takes it in for landing. Reading goes up early by a touchdown. But for sales, they did good on the ground. Ryan McNeilin goes left side for the short score, and we have a tied game. You know, this next play, not a replay, but it is the same guy. McNeilin again for another touchdown. For sales just rolling over Reading 55-21. We stay in Division 4.
Other semifinals now. Versailles and the Reading Blue Devils. Less than 30 seconds left in the first half. Versailles on the doorstep, and quarterback Kyle Gailey punches it in. 21-7 Versailles at the break. Second half now. Reading star Tony Pike is going to hook up with his favorite target, Adam Blevins, and that takes it down to the 2-yard line. It sets up a touchdown by Reading, but it wasn't enough, and Versailles is moving on to the regional finals after a 55-21 victory. Another MAC team.
23. The top-ranked Division 4 team in the state put its perfect record on the line tonight against playoff-tested Reading. The 11-0 Tigers have dominated teams this season. Versailles had outscored its opponents 40-10. Taking on a good Reading club up at Wayne High School tonight. 7-0 Reading first. Versailles gets on the board. Ryan McNeilin, get out of my way. 6-yard touchdown run. Extra point, no good. 7-6. Tigers growling later in the first. McNeilin, 2-yard score. 12-7 Versailles. Just before the half, Tigers driving. Kyle Gale goes up top. 32-yard bomb to Ben Shappy. That will set up 2 plays later. Gale with the quarterback keeper. 55-21, Versailles gets the winner of Clinton Massey and Mary. 2-14, Clinton Massey rolls. If Versailles doesn't win it all, then why not Coldwater? The Cavs are awesome, and their only loss came to Versailles in Week 8. 28-20, Delta gets the win, so they will play Coldwater, who beats Lima Bath 28-0. Massey all over Marymount. Should be a good game between Clinton Massey and Versailles, who beats Reading 55-21.
Well, we packed the old war wagon up, and this time we headed north. Though, up to.
It was cold too.
Very cold. So up to Huber Heights, Height Camp Field up there.
Field, and if you'll remember, we were there last year as well.
Well, you know, I've missed. It'd be 3 times that ICRC's been there. It's my first time there, and everybody said how hospitable they were. They were great. This is Versailles now in the first quarter. Reading's beating Versailles, #1 team in the state. Chris Connor recovers a fumble, though. So the Blue Devils
that was a good start for the Blue Devils.
Get a big break here, but after a penalty pushes him back to the 20-yard line, Tony Pike unloads on his favorite receiver, Adam Blevins, 71 yards.
That's just Pike being Pike right there.
Right, and you know, we had the impression right at that time as, ooh, this could be one whale of a game. But it wasn't going to be.
Not for the team we were hoping.
No. Second quarter, though, Tony Pike now, he's going to have an incomplete pass here, but the significance of this pass right now is Tony Pike will, on his 9th pass of the night, and you can see it was kind of partially tipped, but that attempt right there put him in the record book and erased Doug Ramsey, and now he holds every record now. He holds now the attempts record, too. So good job for Tony Pike. We'll talk a little bit more about him. Third quarter, you know, Reading was only down 21-7 at halftime, but Ben Shappy, the great running back for Versailles, puts him up 28-7, and all of a sudden you could see things.
Yeah, the wheels are starting to fall off.
Even though Reading did answer with a Tim Dick 2-yard touchdown in the next series, closing the gap, but 21 unanswered points by the Versailles Tigers, and Reading. No, Reading was in trouble. Final touchdown of the season for the Blue Devils, very appropriately a Tony Pike TD pass, his 29th of the year, and that was to Nick Berter, who got his 14th pass of the season. That puts him in the record book with Adam Blevins. And you look at Reading's record book right now, as we said, Pike holds every record now passing. Adam Blevins holds every record receiving, and he shares the completions in one season with Nick Berter. So obviously Kenny Minor is going to miss those 3 guys and more too. He has a great senior class too.
I guess the big question, Bill, for Reading is going to be, how do you replace Tony Pike and how do you replace Nick Berter? And how do you replace Adam Blevins on that receiving corps?
And on and on. Yeah, because they got some other good guys on defense and so on. He's going to have quite a job to replace that. But the Blue Devils close out the season 9-3. And once again, Kenny Minor, I know it was very disappointing to lose like that, big time to Versailles. But you know, I kind of mentioned during the game that I'm kind of always leery of these polls, you know, because I love, you know, as a coach, I love to see, you know, our cross-country girls and our track girls, you know, mentioned in the polls. It's good for the kids, but you know, sometimes you got to think polls are voted on by people, you know. And here's Versailles is number 1. The oddity is they're number 2 in the Harbins, you know, which actually I think is a more telling tale, but I'm a believer now. They are for real.
They are definitely for real, and that's going to make for an interesting matchup this coming weekend.
Well, and you know, we also mentioned we also mentioned during the game that night that 4 teams from their league were in the playoffs and made it through the first round. And checking today, all 4 of them won. And this conference is called the Midwest Athletic Conference. Versailles is in the regional finals in Division 4. Coldwater is also in Division 4, but they're in a different region. So conceivably, those 2 teams could meet for the state championship.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Then you have, I think it's Delphus St. John. They're in Division 5. They made it to the regional finals. And Marion Stein Local is in Division 6. They made it to the regional finals, all in the same league. So that's phenomenal. That league could have potentially 3 state championships and a state runner-up.
And Bill, that just leaves one question. Why do all these teams from up north have at least 3 names?
I know. Well, you know, I think I know why. Marion Stein Local. Yeah, they do. Well, I think what happened is you know, being a person who went to a small school, Lockland High School, go Panthers. So a lot of, a little plug there, a lot of these schools have combined over the years. You know, these are little schools. You know, they just don't have enough enrollment and everything, so they combine and they go. You know, I know we always kind of laugh and track that we always have a team that we see in the districts a lot of time called Ripley, Union, Lewis, Huntington. You know, can you imagine trying to say that name, you know, for your cheerleaders?
I don't even want to think about that graphic-wise.
Well, you spell that out, you know, in cheerleader, it takes half of a quarter there to do that. But you know, a lot of these schools have combined and everything, and you know, they're small country schools. I mean, the amount of people in Versailles last night that were at the game, it was huge. I don't think there's anybody left in town. And but I've always been very impressed over the years how these small towns. We saw it last week with Jonathan Alder, you know, with Marymount. It's Jackson, you know, had quite a few people at their game. It impressed me how these small towns really follow their teams. But you know, that's you know, when you're out in the middle of the country, you don't have malls, and you don't have all these distractions that, you know, the city kids have and everything. And a lot of these towns, they rally around the high school. The high school is it. You know, that's their sports and that's their activities. So it's kind of neat to see. It's kind of fun to see that. So, and in D4, interesting, you got number 1 and number 2 there, Versailles and Clinton Massey. Now, even though Clinton Massey won big and Versailles won big, once again, I'm a little bit more familiar with Clinton Massey, but I think they're going to be in for quite a battle here with Versailles. You know, Versailles has had 6 or 8 state championships, and I think they're headed to another one right now. And, you know what? I think Reading be rooting for them too to get to a state championship. You know, I figured this.
Did lose to Clinton Massey this year?
They lost to Clinton Massey first game of the season, but that when Pike went out. That's right. And it was a close game, even with Pike out. But you know, you like to see, if you're going to get beat by somebody, if I'm going to get beat by somebody, I want to see him win state championship because it makes me look better. Exactly. You know, if we do that. Edgewood and Kings.
Football, Division III All-Ohio team among Division IV Reading offensive end Adam Blevins and teammate Tony Pike at quarterback. And the Bengals make a pickup, signing free agent linebacker.
Welcome back to Blitz 5 Extra. What a year we had on the gridiron. 2003 was one of the most exciting seasons we've had here in a long time. And it's hard to believe that the season began only 4 months ago in the hot August sun. Some great individual stories. Reading's quarterback Tony Pike would break the school passing record held by now Elder head coach Doug Ramsey.
McDonald's of Greater Cincinnati is proud to present the McDonald's Blitz 5 Student Athletes of the Week.
David Solomon is a senior at Reading High School, where he played right guard for the football team. David helped his team to the regional semifinals this year. Off the field, David is a member of the National Honor Society, senior class treasurer, and the mock trial team. He carries a 3.9 grade point average.
Thank you.
Another big get for UC football coach Mark D'Antonio today. Reading quarterback Tony Pike has turned down a full ride at Toledo to walk on at UC. In recruiting terms, Pike is called a preferred walk-on, which means eventually he'll get a scholarship. Pike would be eligible to play for the Bearcats in the fall of 2005. So when, and speaking of UC, this could be the UC starting quarterback. His high school coach thinks so. Reading's Tony Pike, who today turned down a full ride at Toledo, Pike will walk on at UC. In recruiting speak, Pike is a preferred walk-on. He'll eventually get a scholarship and will be able to play season after next. The NFL back in court.
Tonight, the Hilton Netherlands Plaza Bengals leader accepts the Staples Coach of the Year award. Marvin Lewis Foundation is going to receive $25,000 donation on behalf of Staples in the NFL. The rookie head coach won the fan balloting on NFL.com by a landslide. And Marvin was one of the presenters at the 37th Annual Scholar Athlete Awards downtown tonight. Josh Hempel from Merrimont, one of the Ohio recipients. Beach was Jeff Ware, the Kentucky winner. And Edgewood Steve Chanel, the high school coach of the year. Oh, by the way, Mount Notre Dame girls basketball team moves to 20-0 tonight with a win at Baden.
Wow.
Just can't be beaten right now. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. We'll be right.
Coming up tonight on the Myers Sport. Plus a glitzy night of awards for coaches and players. There's a lot over the next half hour coming up on the Myers Sports Rush.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Myers Sports Rush. This week, a little bit of a dressy affair from the Hilton Netherlands. This is the 37th Annual Awards Banquet of the National Football Foundation. A lot of great high school kids we're going to meet and be recognized tonight. That in a little bit. But
thanks, Paula, and we welcome you back to the Hilton Netherlands. This is where the National Football Foundation honored the top scholar athletes in Greater Cincinnati. There's Dustin Elvey from Connor and Jeff Dries, the talented receiver from Covcath. Chase Floyd did a terrific job at Boone County, and the winner of the Brian Williams That's My Boy Award for Northern Kentucky went to Jeff Ware from Beechwood, an outstanding athlete and student. The candidates from southwestern Ohio were Ricky Cornelius of Oak Hills, Mike Denoma from Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, also Ryan Huxtable from CHCA. Demarius Dunklett represented Hughes Center, Jesse Imes came from Kings, Ian Lean had a great career at Batavia. Corey Partridge did it all at Loveland, and James Toll was a nominee from Moeller. Michael Von Bargen of Reading had great credentials, and Mark Westred stood out at Roger Bacon. But the winner of the Joe Quinn That's My Boy Award came from the line at Marymount High School. Josh Kemple was the captain of the Warriors and carried a 4.3 average in the classroom. It was a terrific night as always. Tom O'Brien, the head coach from Boston College, was the featured speaker. And there were other honorees that night. We'll have those a bit later on the Myers Sports Rush.
We head back to the National Football Awards Banquet to honor 2 retiring coaches. Stay tuned.
Back at the Hall of Mirrors for the National Football Foundation's annual banquet, the Marvin Lewis Community Fund gave its Coach of the Year award to Steve Chanel from Edgewood High School. Chanel led the Cougars to the state title game in Division II. They were undefeated right up until the title game. And the Anthony Munoz Foundation recognized the big guys in the trenches. Cited as Offensive Lineman of the Year was Ryan Stanchek of LaSalle High School. And given the award as Defensive Lineman of the Year was Nick Davis of the Coleraine Cardinals. One final stop at the National Football Foundation's annual banquet, where 2 longtime coaches were singled out. Terry Malone of Hamilton-Baden is the winningest coach in high school football history. And Steve Rasso won 6 GCL titles in 26 years of coaching at St. X. Rasso and Malone were given Lifetime Achievement Awards.
that's our report for this week. My thanks to Sean Dunster and Sean Jones. They always provide great pictures. Next Saturday night on the Myers Sports Rush.
in Columbus. It happened just before 9 on I-71 and US 62, 10 miles south of Columbus. Police say Joey Wilson was driving the car when he lost control. Ramsey was thrown from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene.
Everybody still is going to miss him, and everybody loves him. It's going to stay with us forever.
The students of Reading High School went home early today after getting the tragic news that Andy Ramsey had died on his way to Columbus to cheer on Reading wrestlers. Ramsey was a state champion in basketball and number 12 on the football team, serving as a linebacker this year. He was traveling with teammate Joey Wilson, number 2 on the team, when the single-car accident happened on I-71. The death of Ramsey and close call for Wilson has left the school in shock.
All the children in there knew the students, and they're just trying to deal with it. We've contacted local clergy, we've contacted parents, and are just trying to deal with each kid individually.
But the loss has reached well beyond the walls of the school into the entire community.
The city of Reading's a close-knit family community, and it touches all of us.
I spoke with Andy's uncle, Dennis Ramsey. He told me Andy was a caring young man who loved his family deeply. He also said he was a wonderful brother to his 3 sisters and half-siblings. There will be a candlelight vigil at 7 o'clock tonight for anyone who would like to attend outside of Reading High School. David?
Now at 6. Another abduction scare, police scrambling, officers hunting for a little girl. Tonight, the recent rash of reports and why we're seeing so many cases. First, a tri-state teenager killed, another injured, a school in mourning.
It was a tragic loss. That's all I can say.
Tonight, the boy's family talks about the son they lost.
The horrible details of this accident are still developing tonight. Good evening. I'm Anne-Marie Tierney.
And I'm Dave Wagner. Those kids were on their way to the state wrestling championship in Columbus. The crash happened on I-71 at the 94-mile marker in Franklin County.
The students were from Reading High School. Suzanne Horgan is live there tonight at the school with more on what happened. Suzanne.
Well, Andrew Ramsey was a junior here at Reading Junior Senior High School. Ramsey and Joseph Wilson were on their way to Columbus to watch that wrestling meet. Wilson lost control of the car. They hit a guardrail and the car flipped. Wilson was treated at a hospital and released, but Andrew Ramsey, who was partially ejected, died at the scene. His family is devastated.
He was a jokester.
Yeah, he was.
Dry sense of humor. It was funny.
A mother remembers her son, who was full of life and love.
He loved to fish. He loved sports. He just loved life.
Andrew's friends and family gathered together today to mourn. Andrew was killed while he and another teenager were driving north on 71. His family says it's a tragic loss.
He's a beautiful person. That's all we can say.
Andrew played football at Reading Junior Senior High School. He was also part of the basketball team, which won the state championship last year. Now his family is grieving the loss.
We miss him dearly.
And Andrew Ramsey is also the nephew of elder football coach Doug Ramsey. The school did have grief counselors here, and some students were released early. Reporting live in Reading, Suzanne Horgan, Eyewitness News 5.
If you'd like to send condolences to the family or to find out more about the funeral arrangements, go to our website, channelcincinnati.com. Click on Top Story.
And another
news.
Local high school students remembered a classmate with a vigil tonight. 17-year-old Andy Ramsey died in a car accident on I-71 just this morning. Tonight, the students from Reading High School paid tribute to his memory with a candlelight vigil. Ramsey was on his way to a wrestling match in Columbus when that accident happened.
And tonight, students remembered one of the brightest and most athletic students at Reading High School. Hundreds of people gathered in front of Reading High School tonight to remember 17-year-old Andy Ramsey. Andy was killed in a car accident this morning while on his way to the state wrestling championships in Columbus. The accident happened about 10 miles south of Columbus. Police say Joey Wilson was driving the car when he lost control. Ramsey was thrown from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. And tonight
must go. Last month in a crash on Interstate 71 in Franklin County. Ramsey's family created the fund as a yearly scholarship to be given out to Reading High students. If you'd like to make a donation to the Andy Ramsey Scholarship Fund, you can do so at any Fifth Third bank.
17-year-old Andy Ramsey was killed last Friday in an accident on I-71 just south of Columbus. Fellow Reading High School student Joseph Wilson was behind the wheel. Wilson suffered minor injuries. The boys were on their way to see the state wrestling championship in Columbus. The Andy Ramsey Scholarship Fund will be awarded yearly to a deserving Reading High School student to help fund their college education.
North College Hill is 21-0 this year and has rarely been tested. Budding legend O.J. Mayo leads the way, and on Tuesday, the Trojans added another of the nation's best ninth graders as Bill Walker finally made his debut after having knee surgery. But NCH was in for a tough game tonight, taking on defending state champ Reading. Speaking of O.J. Mayo, he's good. Averaged more than 30 points as a ninth grader. He went for 28 tonight. Reading answers. Tony Pike, great football player, fine basketball player. That jumper good for 2 of his, 8 points. That's Bill Walker in his second game for the Trojans. He had 15 tonight. Go ahead and say a prayer. Reading, from downtown, Jeremy Overbeck for 3 of his 12 points. But NCH has an answer. OJ going between the legs and pulling up from 3-point range. Again, he had 28. How about some skywalking? The Trojans on the break and getting it to Bill Walker, who goes up and throws it down with the right hand. Again, the young man's in 9th grade. But guess what? North College Hill is no longer undefeated and no longer alive in the playoffs. Reading comes through big time in handing North College Hill its first loss all year, 58-47. It was an emotional win for Reading after the recent death of student Andy Ramsey. Our Betsy Ross was on hand and caught up with winning coach Rich Bensman.
Talk about your kid's heart. I mean, this was a tough week for you guys.
I'm telling you, like I said in the paper yesterday, if we win this game or if we lose this game, that just pales in the comparison of what we had to go through in Reading the last week. And, this isn't a challenge, and this wasn't tough. I mean, in life, when you lose a close friend like Andy Ramsey and a buddy that's been with us, and he's just a great kid, always had a smile on his face, and that's tough. That's what's tough. So we talked about it with the boys. This is the fun times of your lives. This is a game. Go out and have fun tonight. This is a basketball game. The tough stuff is what happened Tuesday with Andy.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
And again, we not only congratulate Reading on that big playoff victory tonight, but North College Hill for a 21-1 record this season. Now to college hoops.
Apparently, that's the key to success. Time now to honor our latest Cintas Exceeding Expectations Player of the Week, and he is a good one. Reading still in the chase to repeat as a state champion. And our George Bogle says one of the big reasons why Reading is playing on is forward Nick Berter.
Well, Kim, we are out at Reading High School with the Blue Devils and our Cintas Exceeding Expectations Player of the Week, Nick Berter. Nick, 24 points, 11 rebounds last week against North College Hill. You got to feel great about that effort.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to attack the basket, and it was pretty hard guarding Mayo, but, just did our best, and I came out and hit 3 threes right in a row and just felt pretty good.
Yeah, there were a lot of people had doubts that anyone around here could knock off North College Hill. Did you guys have any doubts at all going into this?
No, I didn't have any because I knew they were a good team, but I knew we're really coming together right now, and we take them like any other team and just come out and play hard.
All right, we're going to get the coach in over here, Rich Bensman. And Rich, what was your thought process going into this game and how you used Nick against North College Hill?
Well, I mean, obviously they have some very talented players, and they were a good team. I mean, you're not number 1 in the state and undefeated for no reason. You got to be pretty good if you're at that level. We just needed to focus on what we do as a team, and if it wasn't going to be Nick, it would be someone else. That's the way this team has been all year long, and Nick stepped up a lot of games when we needed to, and that was one. That was one of the adjustments we made at halftime. We need to take it to the basket a little bit more with some dribble penetration after we run it high and wide, and he's one of our slashers that can do that and shoot it as well. I mean, he opened the game up with first 3 threes like he said, but then he also can slash to the basket pretty well too. So I think that made a difference. But we just wanted to be us.
All right, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way. And Nick, you get the coveted jersey from Cintas, our Cintas Exceeding Expectations Player of the Week. Ken, let's go back to you in the studio.
Thank you, George. Here's this week's winner. It's Mel Thomas. 19 points on Friday night has powered Mel Thomas and the Mount Notre Dame Cougars into the Division I Final Four. High school basketball playoffs today. Let's go to the Cintas Center. Hamilton head coach